Take 3. We're here again. Let's start with the basic. We're at Meacham because it is the only place in how many square miles that you can get local, organic, biodynamic, sustainable? What words do you want to use here?
Keep going.
Okay, all right.
How many square miles? I couldn't tell you. Thankfully, there are a lot of wonderful home growers around the area that are producing their own food. But to be a place that we are a production farm to sell direct to consumer, we are the only ones that I know of in the Tampa Bay area that is growing in soil. So that is our main focus, and what we pride ourselves in is that you can grow nutrient-dense food in an urban setting, because there's a lot of different ways to grow food in an urban environment, but you get the highest nutrient density through soil-grown vegetables.
What was this plot previously? Because it definitely was not rich soil.
No, so 15 years ago, there was a building on here. It was like an old nursing home. 2018, when they started the site development, it was going through, removing some of the trees that are in the middle to pretty much free up the land to then grow in the ground.
Yeah.
So when I started in 2020, it was just sand and weeds, pretty much. But through the years, the style of farming is like the long game, where it's like a slow buildup, but every year you see the benefits because you're just building up the soil through peat moss, compost, biochar. You're just adding all of these organic amendments to build it up. Like microbes, we do like algae, drenches, biostimulants, so you're putting microbes in, beneficial bacteria.
The super sexy peat moss that I freak out about every time I see it. I always swear, it looks like dirt. It just looks like dirt's supposed to look like, and so I get excited, and then you're like, no, that goes in. I'm like, okay, yeah.
So doing that, it's like we have seen the benefits of farming like that, like tenfold. It's crazy. It's crazy how...
What do you mean tenfold what?
But just productive.
Like the actual, the vegetable production or what?
Yeah, vegetable production. Things that we would plant and just die after, halfway through their
everything
maturity.
I've ever grown. All right.
But now it's like they thrive out here. It's like our beets, the first couple seasons, we couldn't get them bigger than this, and now they're solid, good quality.
One of the coolest things, is the conversations that I had with Joe in the 2020 era, where carrots were crooked or different, or they were stunted or different things, and he was just like, no, but in a couple of years the soil will be perfect, and he's like, my goal is to have long straight carrots, right? As an example. And then you walk into the farm one day, and now it's 4 or 5 years later, but you walk into the farm and you're like, oh, they're only perfect carrots. And obviously you're selecting as well, but generally speaking, it's been you're watching that vision for what's possible into fruition. It's a really cool experience.
Yeah, and with the carrots, it's we used to, even the first season, it's incredible how well vegetables can grow in subpar conditions.
Right.
It's truly amazing, because you're how the heck is this?
How many kids out there were raised on Chick-fil-A?
What do you mean?
You can grow a whole human on Chick-fil-A, you could probably grow a vegetable on less than ideal soil.
True.
Yeah.
We used to grow really nice carrots even the first season, and then it dropped off. It's quite a roller coaster. But we'd have nice bunches, and then have really wonky, crazy looking carrots that we would bag up and use as top carrots. But now it's we get so many good bunches, and then even our bag carrots are good looking carrots. They're nice and straight, super sweet and crispy. Absolutely delicious. And so it's even the things that are not top tier are still very good quality. And it's that goes back to the soil health.
That's the other thing that the idea of, we've talked about this, but quality being defined as nutrient dense, and that certain things even if it's an imperfect looking carrot, it is still better by the definition of like it has more vitamins, minerals, etc. for you to consume than anything you're gonna get in the grocery store, like regardless of how good it looks, and like probably in spite of that. And yeah, it's a pretty so it's something I've never asked you, but like how do you guys know? Because if there was a nursing home on this property and reasonably there's a lot of like industrial just materials out here, how do you guys test to make sure that the soil is pure essentially?
So there's like heavy metal testings you can do, heavy metal testings that we've done multiple times, but we like test the soils every year.
Okay.
That's just like a basic practice in any sort of food production is like you test your soils at least once a year, if not twice. But then there's your basics of like what they'll give you like recommendations per acre of like what you need to add for specific crops. And so we do like a general overlay because we grow so many different types of things. But yeah, they have like the in-depth, you pay more to like make sure that no contaminants are in there.
It's like getting a blood panel. Blood panel for your soil.
Well, that's like Joe just did that for himself because he's like, we test our soils every year. And so it's like,
he's like, I'm high in mercury and lead. The soil's perfect. Something's up, right?
We're reading his results and he was
just
like,
eating sushi like a motherfucker, right?
There's like a 0 contaminants, like heavy metal contaminants in his blood thing. He was like, that's a good.
That's a good.
Thing.
Yeah, it's a great. Yeah.
It shows that. You know, because we eat this food all day, every day. It's like the blood work says that it's not a problem.
That this is working, right? That's super funny.
But going back to quality is like nutrient dense is like I wanted to like emphasize like flavor on that too because like the whole point of food is to be nourishing but also like enjoy it. And
when it's possible to have them both, it's an ideal situation, right?
Yeah, that's the goal always. Like going back to nutrient density is like hand in hand with flavor. So it's like, you know, kids don't like vegetables. It's like you're feeding them vegetables from the store. It's like, do you even like those? It's like you're just told that you need to eat them, so you eat them. Versus like a really good tasting broccoli. And it's like you don't even need to cook really fresh broccoli because it's already so sweet. The flavor, like I said, is hand in hand with nutrient density. It's like that's what makes it taste so good.
Literally more vitamins and minerals.
It looks good because it's brighter, it's fresher. All the minerals are there. They haven't been depleted and through storage or for long term and things like that. So
I was at Chris Leonard's house the other night. He was making ratatouille from the tomatoes, eggplants, and I guess squash also from, I guess the squash is from Little Pond, or the zucchini. And in the recipe that he had, it like was like, oh, you're gonna add a can of tomatoes and you need to add a tablespoon of sugar and like whatever. And like he's like, all right, I gotta add a tablespoon of sugar. I'm like, what are you adding sugar for? And he's like, well, the recipe says to add sugar. I'm like, yeah, it's because they have bullshit tomatoes that they're putting in here that are flavorless or they're bitter or whatever it is, and it's like that. But so he was like, okay, and so he didn't put it in. It was unbelievable. It was like it was super good. It was the cherry tomatoes, the eggplant. I mean, it was great, but it was exactly that. It was just like you don't need to modify with acid or with other like sugar or any of those things to compensate for the natural sweetness because it's already there. Like it's for sure.
I've been doing a lot of like research in a way, just buying cookbooks and reading them, which I absolutely love to do.
I have 1 million at the house. Please stop by. You're going to stop by, but I can pull them out and you can peruse.
That's has been one of my favorite things to do since like elementary school. But like specifically like chefs like Alice Waters, obviously from Chez Panisse and things. Even Ina Garten, Stanley Tucci, who's an actor, but
even like some of those, like Italian French, but it's like even in some of those where it's like they're not, like Alice Waters is very product forward in a way that maybe Ina Garten or Stanley Tucci aren't necessarily. Just like you need to go to the farmer's market to whatever, but at the end of the day, like you just take any of their great recipes and you come to the farm and you buy the product that the recipe calls for, guaranteed going to be like an improved.
Right. Well, all three of them, like definitely different levels of like what you're saying, like the sourcing, but still like the underlying message like those three specifically have. And even this Italian chef who wrote the essentials of Italian cooking like over 50 years ago. It's all like goes back to quality ingredients. It's like you get the highest quality ingredients available, you cook them very simply or prepare them simply, and you cannot go wrong. Like it's like you're saying, you're bringing the two together of like nutrient dense and like absolutely delicious. And it makes life just more enjoyable because you're less stressed in the kitchen and your meals turn out great because you're not like slaving away for hours. You're just like doing a few things.
You literally can just saute some stuff over rice and you're like, damn, I don't know how I'm such a good cook. It's like, well, you're not actually, but
you have great farmers.
But you have great farmers. That's so when I was like super young, I started reading cookbooks, wanted to be a chef, whatever, but there was a book that I was reading that they had conversations with like all of these French chefs, and to your point, the underlying sentiment was product has to be like the best product always, right? Especially in like the 3 Michelin star places, and like that's not always the case. Like there are some places that are so like concept forward that they'll take I would call it a subpar product and they modify it, and it's still delicious, but it's just different, right? But there's one in particular, Alain Ducasse, who is super, super famous chef, and I don't know if he's the guy with the most Michelin stars in the world right now or something like that, but he was the guy who's 70-30 is his ratio for product to expertise and like knowledge that you need. So it's like 70% high quality vegetable and 30%, and if that ratio is off in one way or the other, you're going to get a lackluster. So like if you don't have enough skill to complement the excellence of this product, but you don't need to be a master chef to make an excellent tomato excellent. Like it's already excellent, right? So if you have a 90% tomato, you can basically be you can just be dumb, and just like slice it, put some salt and olive oil on it, and it's game time, right? But
if the tomato is like 25% delivery, then
you need to be an excellent chef, right? And so for him, it was that perfect ratio. And like I've been to his restaurant in Monaco, and it was like lunch, like the lunch spread there was exactly that. It was like a piece of fish with like a pepper sauce and like a couple of garnishes, but everything was peak season. And it was not, I mean, obviously their level of execution was next level in every way. But and so that's what got me here, truly, is like that sentiment. It was like from that point I only was interested in working at the restaurants at that time that were the farm to table places. So Frank Stitt from Highlands Bar and Grill in Birmingham was the first place that I stopped because he had developed, and I first heard about him through Chefs Afield, the PBS, which I love. And from there, going up to Maine to work at Arrows at the time that had an acre garden like attached, so in season it was like almost 90% of everything we used came off of that garden. It was unbelievable. And it's just like you just like start to eat that way, and then everything else just tastes like everything else is
you ruin yourself, but in the best way.
Then you start wearing these hats to tell you to eat local. And
I have like a similar I guess journey. I never worked in like kitchen specifically, like around the country, but I always wanted to be a chef. I was just like always super into food, and I was like, that seems like a cool job. But then I was like, I don't know, just like growing up, you're like, maybe not. But I worked for a farm-to-table restaurant in college, and I was already interested in agriculture because I was like, okay, I want to work outside, I want to be active, I want to be around plants or animals and stuff, and I want my day-to-day to look different, always. And let me tell you, farming
it could not be more different.
All those boxes. And it kind of like brought those two worlds together. Like I was already into food, and then I was like, oh, I can grow my own food, like learn how to. I have a horticulture degree with fruit and vegetable production emphasis. So it's like I really learned the science of growing my own food. And then I knew with that job security, everyone has to eat all the time. So I will stay with that. And then by growing things, I'll just have access to like the freshest, most delicious food possible, and just like use that to cook, either for myself or others, and then fortunately it led me here to now cook for others.
Yeah, so you guys are doing a lot of, you had your first wedding this past weekend, right?
Yeah. First one.
Very exciting. So they do weddings here. So if you're a wedding planner and or you want to plan your wedding with her, Meacham Urban Farm is the place.
Private events?
Where love grows organically. Private events, like it's been, like you would talk a little bit about that, but.
Yeah, they're all customizable. Like it literally, it's up to me, and it's up to the hostess of like, whatever you want to do, we can make it happen.
Yeah.
We rent the space out just for meetings and things, but I always offer in-house catering, all farm to table stuff from scratch. Menus change for all farm dinners.
Yeah, you guys did
weddings.
like chili for like one event, right? Was it chili?
Yeah, that was a luncheon for 120 people with the Weston A. Price Foundation. Made a chili with
That's like a perfect
Oregon blend.
That's a perfect It's like a perfect situation though. Like it's either that or you go to some like, I don't know, basic like hotel and you just have like shitty chicken, whatever, and you pay probably 10 times more.
Well, like, don't get me started on weddings and catered events like that. It's like, how much money are you paying, and then what's the quality of the food?
Right.
It's like, sure, things can be presented well, but I always think it's like, oh, it's fake fancy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, or you can actually have like a nutrient-dense meal that tastes really good, that's sourced locally, hasn't been flown around the world, and
especially like right now. I mean, there's a huge sentiment toward what I would call locavorism, right? Like just kind of coming back to that, probably more so than I've ever. Yeah, like it's great for you guys, but it's like more, and like it's always been a thing that's been in the conversation, especially like obviously you and I know that, but it's like it's been there, but it is definitely like picked up steam in terms of its place in people's day-to-day life, not just in like restaurants that use it as a specialty, or your one hippie friend from Berkeley or whatever, right?
Yeah, like it used to be a lot more niche, and now it's kind of becoming like the norm. Yeah. Which we're thankful for, but honestly, like wouldn't happen without places like this. It's like there needs to be like 5 more Meachams in the Tampa Bay area, just like around the country. It's just like more small organic farms to supply the community with local food. It's possible. Yeah. But
what's the? Anyway. Is there anything else we want to add? Meacham Urban Farm is open.
Meacham Urban Farm is open Fridays 2 to 6, Saturdays and Sunday 8 to 2, and Mondays 2 to 6.
Okay, and that's for the public, right?
Yep, that's our farm store, so you can come and shop like a normal grocery store, except you are supporting local farmers and local artisans with hyper-local organic produce. Yeah, great bread,
great dairy,
local meats, eggs, honey, raw dairy, things like that, and then you can walk around, see where your food is grown. We have our farm cats, which are so lovely. We just got baby chicks, which will be laying our eggs this early fall. So we get a real fun farm time in downtown Tampa.
Hell yeah. Thank you for being here again. Take 3. I think we got this one.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Hell yeah.
Come to the farm.
All right. So, if you will do me the honor to come back and teach me how to make some very delicious something in my kitchen, that would be much appreciated.
My pleasure.
Excellent.
Let's see what
we can cook up. Yeah, we'll take a walk through the farm and like through the market and see what's good.
Let's do it.
All right. What are we working on?
Today we're making Meacham Urban Farm carrot soup.
Beautiful. And these are the delicious sweet carrots we were talking about earlier.
Yep, so some of those are already pre-cut. You can go ahead.
Thick slice. Okay, so what's our plan with these? We're gonna roast them.
Yes. So I'm just cutting these at a bias, so kind of like a slant. I don't know. I guess like 1/4 inch thick. The thinner you cut them, the faster they'll roast, but they don't need to be perfect. And then also too, I was throwing the little tops in there because it's a soup, so you're gonna blend it up. It's no biggie. So some people salt first and then add oil.
Interesting. Why would they do that?
They believe that it it connects the salt directly to the food versus the barrier. Now the oil acts as a glue to stick the salt, well, on the outside.
All right, so keep that nice.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to do this without.
nice.
Oh my god. Oh. All right, nice toss, and a decent amount of oil on there too, because you want it to.
Yeah, that was probably a couple tablespoons at least, and we have 2 pounds of carrots here. Yeah,
Nice,
single
even.
layer.
Yep. All right, and we've got the oven preheated to 525.
Beautiful.
Very, very hot.
So we going in. On the bottom, closer to the heat source in the oven.
All right, so I am in charge of the leeks. All right, so leeks, they look like this, and they're big, thick green stalk, and then you got this white portion. They hold a shitload of dirt. You can see it in there. Sand, mud, whatever it is, and you have to get that out. Easiest way to do it is to take off your tops like this, and you can save these and use them for broth, but you'll need to rinse these as well, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just gonna rinse the portion that we're gonna use. So this is, we'll call that the bowl, that's the end portion. And I take all the way down to the root end, right there, with maybe just like a 1/4 inch or so left. And I do that once, twice, 3 times around like that, so it opens it up like this. And then from there, I just take and I'm gonna run it into the water and rinse off. Cold water, to make sure all of the sand and everything is out of each one of those layers, like that. Beautiful. That one's split on me. Anyway. All right, so then from that point, you're just taking, slicing across, and you end up with that nice small dice in there. All right, so in this bowl, I'm gonna put the aromatics, so I'll do this right now, and then
Onion next.
and this is pretty straightforward. All right, once it's in half, just peel off that first layer. All right, same deal, medium dice. So just once down, and some, you could take and you could slice it again on that like horizon, but I'm not going to do that, because again, it's gonna get blended up, and as long as it's all roughly the same size, you're good to go. So there's that, the onion number.
You can hear the carrots sizzling.
Yes. So this is ginger. Ginger, and is like one of those foods that has a super strong affinity with carrots.
Yes.
So very common that you'll see this, and we also have coconut milk that we're putting in this one as well, right? So let me, garlic one hand, spoon in the other, and you're just taking and you're going to just drag the spoon along the skin like that, just to get the top layer off. And you could use a peeler for this if you wanted to, but the spoon does a better job just taking that very, very fine type layer off the top. All right, so once I have the ginger, this is how I do it. How do you do the ginger? Start there.
I kind of cut it like an onion in a way, where I like do the cross sections, and then I go through and do like very petite dice, almost like trying to get a mince.
Yeah, very nice.
But I'm curious to see how you do it.
Yeah. No, I was just curious. I didn't know if there was like I smash it the same way I do with garlic, and then I just do exactly what you're talking about. So I'll just take it like that, and just break it into, because it's super fibrous, so I
Right.
want to break it into as many of like those small pieces as possible, and then I just do that.
Okay. Yeah.
That's me. Now, and it's basically what you were talking about. You just want to get it into a nice, like consistent small. But even if it's soup, like this,
Where you still need to break up those fibers.
yeah, like that's, but that's honestly, that's probably even far enough. Like you don't really, because it is going to get blended into a puree, and then we're going to pass it through the strainer. So there's that. That's all I'm going to do. And then garlic, same deal, smash. And these I will add to the onions.
Wonderful.
All right, so aromatics will go back here. And then, do you want to talk about our spice blend here?
So what we have here is about a teaspoon of cumin, about a couple teaspoons of freshly cracked black pepper, and coriander.
Yep.
So we'll add the
And all of these spices are the burlap and barrel variety, which is your
high quality.
number one.
All right, so we start with our base. So we have the Dutch oven here. Gonna put in a few glugs. So here goes the leeks, onions, and garlic.
Do you want any color on the aromatics? What do we want to do?
Yep. So we cook these to soften for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then you're gonna add in the spices. So you're building the flavors. So this is the cumin, coriander, pepper, and ginger.
You can put some cardamom in there if you really wanted to, but
I don't know why I'm struggling with that today.
it's pretty spice heavy too. I think it's gonna be nice. All right. Are we adding the broth now, or are we gonna add the carrots now?
So we will add both, but I'm gonna add the broth, a little bit of broth first to get the spices from the bottom of the pan. And then add carrots and then probably the rest of the broth.
And you could use chicken broth for this. You could use something other than, we're using vegetable broth here, but
Yeah. And homemade is always better, but sometimes you don't have time and sometimes you don't have it on hand.
all right. Perfect.
Beautiful.
All right. Nice.
You wanna go ahead and toss them in?
Yeah, for sure. Let's do this. So they have.
You see some of them got nice toasted brown on the bottom. You want me to do it?
Nope. I want to prove something to myself here.
You still got it in the
I don't have to
kitchen.
go to, I don't have to go to the gym now. Yeah.
We're gonna get those coated with a nice aromatics. We're gonna use about 4 to 6 cups of broth. Really, you just want enough to cover all of the carrots, so it looks like a soup. So here, we're just gonna let this simmer for about 10 minutes with the lid on
Okay.
to really have those flavors mend.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and put it in the blender and then add the coconut milk.
Perfect. All right. We're making croutons.
Croutons.
Or in your world, we're making toasted bread cubes. You want me to dice them?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
So, what size are we looking for here?
Like this big.
Oh, bigger. Okay. I enjoy, well, I mean, I'll make them however, but I enjoy the idea, like, that they fit onto a spoon easily, and that it's not like a huge mouthful every time you...
Yep, so we have some freshly baked sourdough bread
Very fresh.
from Hestia. And then dice it up, and all you do is, toss with a little olive oil, salt and pepper, and put it under the broiler in the oven. Simple as that.
Nice. How are these looking?
Beautiful.
Good.
That is like
That's what I
the
need.
best
Alright.
life tip.
So I'll pass that to you if you want to
Okay.
season.
Olive oil. Just doing a little drizzle. These, it does matter to not over oil the bread because you don't want them soggy. But again, a few pinches of salt, 1 little pinch of pepper. And even you can get crazy with it, add a little garlic or garlic powder, chili, I was thinking pepper flakes too.
Onto the sheet tray here, nice even layer, and then you put it in the
broiler. Yes. So you do have to keep an eye on them since they're gonna toast up, but you kind of like toss them around, put them back in, and you let them toast up. Make them as toasty as you want them. It's the best part about cooking. You can make it exactly how you want them. So I'll keep an eye on those. We're going to get this soup blended up.
Perfect. So I am just going to put this right on the countertop because
it's a rental.
It's a rental. So we've got a ladle. All of our soup. So that's going right on there. I'm going to go ahead and add the can of coconut milk to this.
Okay.
Very, very, very important when you turn on a blender that it is all the way as low as possible when you're running hot liquids. If you're running hot liquids and you have it cranked on high, this will blow up to the roof, it'll blow on your face, you're going to get burnt. It's ridiculous. I've seen it happen so many times, it's unbelievable. Other thing, there's the lid here that lets that heat out, and so that's like the heat is going to expand. So if that is completely covered, it also is going to create pressure, and it's going to want to pop, right? But if you leave it open like that, and I will also just put a towel over it, so it makes it like a little less volatile. So anyway, starting on 1 and slowly. All the way up to 10.
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la is right. All right, so that's as.
Shall we taste?
Yeah, definitely taste it. So we've got the salt and pepper here, so we're gonna taste it. And we'll season and we'll add back as needed. I think the thickness on it is great.
Yeah, it looks really good.
But we got everything blended, and it's gonna go back in the pot that it came from. So that's gonna be able to keep it nice and warm, just like that. And then from there, we can season, also add extra salt and pepper, do what we need to do to that. And
get ready to serve.
And get ready to serve. All right.
Bring a little more salt.
A little more salt. All right. Okay. A little more pepper. No.
Maybe a little bit.
We can always add more.
Right. Can always add more, can never take away. Beautiful color.
Great color, great. I mean, the texture is perfect. Thoughts?
You're going a little bit more?
A little more salt.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be shy about it.
I'm going ahead and dish it up.
Do it. The croutons, fresh off the tray. Oh, and we have cilantro.
Yes.
Right here, which will go perfect on top. So coriander, for those who don't know, is the seed of cilantro. So if you go to almost every other English-speaking part of the world, aside from America, it is known as coriander, fresh coriander or dry coriander, and this would be
fresh.
Fresh. We call it cilantro because we love Mexico. It looks good. Nice. I'll hand those to you. That's quite a lot, but do what you want.
Sexy. Oh, so sexy. I think it looks damn good.
I think it looks damn good.
Let's see what it tastes
That would be,
like.
yeah. Can't help it. Hell yeah.
Really tasty.
Super tasty, and the spice in there is perfect.
I'm making a mess. Nothing to see you.
All right. Well, thank you for teaching me how to make this lovely soup.
Thank you for your help. It's absolutely delicious.
I like the chewy croutons. Hot. All right.
Greg, you're gonna want some of this.
You're gonna want some of this.
Yeah, I have to try.
Till next time, folks. Thank you.
It's been